Let us talk about the borderland. Purgatory occupies the three lower regions of the desire world. The first heaven is in the three upper regions. The central region is a sort of borderland, neither heaven nor purgatory. And we show this by the following diagram. You can see purgatory in the red color. And then you can see the first heaven, which is to the top, in the green color. Between both, you have feeling the gray color, and that is the borderland. It is neither heaven nor purgatory. Who are the people who go there? We're going to talk about them. In the borderland, there are people who were honest and upright in life. They wronged nobody, but were deeply immersed in business or other activities, and they thought nothing at all about the higher life. It never meant anything to them. You remember in our first lecture, we talked about the ignorant person, the ordinary person, the moralist, the humanist, the atheist, the philanthropist, and the material scientist. Yes, we did. You may refer to lecture number 1, which is about the purpose of life, for the details. For such people, the desire world is a place of excruciating monotony. There is no business, nor is there anything that will take its place. The dead will have a very hard time until he or she learns to think of higher things. Things higher than cash, checks, ledgers, and business. Those in this life who thought that death ends it all, who deny the existence of things outside the material sense world, they equally feel this dreadful monotony. They had expected an elation of conscience or consciousness, but find themselves with an augmented perception of other people and things about them. They had been accustomed to denying these things vehemently whilst they were alive. They deceived themselves into thinking that the desire world is imaginary and that they are hallucinating. Yet the monotony persists, and it is dreadful. Frequently, they are heard exclaiming in the deepest despair, "When will it end? When will it end?" Because the suffering is too much. Such people are really in a pitiable state. You have to feel pity for them. They are generally beyond the reach of any help whatever, and they suffer more longer than almost anyone else. That is the danger of those who don't believe, those who refuse that there is life beyond the physical. They get there and still in their doubting stage, doubt even what they are suffering from, but eventually they have no option but to admit. Besides, they have scarcely any life in the heavenly world. That is another serious danger, where the building of bodies for future embodiment takes place. That is where the spirit is taught how to build its body. But because they doubt things, even there, they are not able to do anything. So they put all their crystallizing thoughts into whatever body they build for the future life. And as such, a body is built in many cases that has the wrong tendencies. Such skeptics face the greatest danger of losing touch in the scheme of evolution and becoming outcasts. All because they use their free will to deny themselves the natural path to become perfect, to be like God. Through suffering, they fall in line at last. So they suffer more, and eventually they fall in line. Sometimes the suffering will turn their thoughts to God, and only then can they proceed to the higher worlds. So the dead, having been sufficiently purged of all wrong desires and suffering from the pain caused others, builds into itself conscience. The whole thing is about conscience and virtue. It is now ready to proceed to the first heaven, where records of the good things done on earth will be played for it to enjoy bliss and strengthen virtue. The dead proceeds to the higher part of the desire world. How the dead enjoys bliss in the first heaven is dependent on the amount of good work done on earth. So, if little good works were done here on this earth, little enjoyment will be realized over there. It is therefore not automatic that everybody will go to first heaven after death. Importantly, your good work, my good work, determines whether we qualify to be in first heaven and for how long. Let us summarize what we have talked about so far. Within the 3.5 days after death, the corpse should be kept in a room, in the house, in a solitary environment, devoid of any noise or disturbance. Ice blocks can be used to preserve the body, and after 3.5 days, the body can be sent to the morgue. There are dangers to the dead if the body is taken immediately after death to the morgue or buried. The dead are often present at their own funerals because of the tie between the residual magnetism of the corpse and the spiritual bodies. The vibration of certain colors during funerals are not conducive for the dead. Colors such as black, red, brown, much more when they are deep colors. The dead don't like it at all. White color is most appealing as the atoms attract and connect with the vibration of the dead. Grief, crying, wailing, and lamentations, they dampen the cheerfulness of the dead, and as much as possible should not characterize the funeral. Respect ought to be shown because that is about the last occasion to bid the dead Godspeed. It should be repeated at the funeral while mentioning the name of the dead that he or she has no more role to play in the physical world, but should adjust or find his or her balance in the spiritual world. All along, the dead will try to participate in activities of interest as when he or she was alive. Generally, the first place dead people enter in the spiritual world is the lower region of the desire world, where the force of repulsion predominates. Over there, the records which have been transferred into the seed atom of the desire body will be played to the dead who now has feelings. The desire world is structured by God such that both good and bad are not on the same plane. There is a separation. The bad is cleansed first. So the sower reaps at last the good of his or her past life on earth. The force of repulsion is not to punish anybody, but to build conscience into the spirit, to suffer until the realization that inappropriate life was led on earth. Purgatory is actually the lowest region of the desire world, which is dominated by the passion and coarse desires of animals, human beings, and demons. The purpose of purgatory is not to punish anybody, but to strengthen conscience in the spirit for it to shun evil and aspire to be good as the Father in heaven. Purgatory occupies the 3 lower regions of the desire world. It works to the force of repulsion in 2 ways. 1, to deprive the dead from satisfying nefarious activities, desires, feelings, and emotions. And 2, for the dead to feel the pain it caused others by commission or omission during earth life. As long as the dead entertains low desires linked to earth life, he or she must stay in the desire body and suffer in purgatory. There is no fixed time about how long a person will stay in purgatory. It depends on the individual, how early he or she can drop the evil desires. After purgatory, the experiences will be forgotten in succeeding lives when the spirit comes back to embodiment on earth. But the feeling remains. It is only when the dead realizes and admits the vanity of desires, of low desires, to which he or she was attached during earth life, can he or she proceed to the higher worlds, commencing with the first heaven. While alive, we can live our purgatory by the exercise of retrospection so that we do not go through it after death. Repentance and reform are also powerful factors in shortening the purgatorial existence. Even though we are not able to make restitution for a wrong that we have done against another person, the sincerity of our regret will suffice. Large progress will be made by humanity, and conditions ordinarily reserved for future lives are attainable now by the individual who strives, judging himself or herself, and eradicating vice by reforming his or her character. The cornerstone of spiritual development is character, not just chanting, speaking in tongues, showboating prayers and fasting, display of magical powers, signs and wonders, and what have you. Character shows your level of spirituality. We talk about the borderland. is the central region of the desire world. It's a sort of borderland, neither heaven nor purgatory. That place is for people who were honest and upright in life, who wronged no one, but deeply immersed in business and other things, and they thought nothing of the higher life. For such people, the desire world is a place of excruciating monotony. There is no business, nor is there anything that will take its place. They deceive themselves into thinking that the desire world is imaginary and that they are hallucinating. Such people are really in pitiable state. They attract pity. They are generally beyond the reach of any help, and they suffer much longer than almost anyone else because they deny the existence of worlds beyond the physical. So when they get there, they are still holding on to their singular belief, which is wrong. Such skeptics face the greatest danger of losing touch in the scheme of evolution and becoming outcasts. So the dead, having been sufficiently purged of all wrong desires and suffering from the pain caused others, builds into itself conscience. It is now ready to proceed to the first heaven, where records of the good things done on earth will be played for it to enjoy bliss and strengthen virtue. How the dead enjoy bliss in the first heaven is dependent on the amount of good work done on earth. So, if little good works were done here, little enjoyment will be realized over there. It is therefore not automatic that everybody will go to first heaven after death. Your good works, my good works, determine it. We hope you have learned something new in this episode. If you have any suggestions or questions, do not hesitate to post them into our comments section. Let us meet again for the part 4 of this episode, where we'll be talking about the journey of the dead through the first, the second, and the third heavens. Thank you very much.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.